There's a popular trend or retrend that's taken over anime as of late. It's video games. Now, I know what you're thinking. The video game trend has been around for a while. And it's true. That's why I said retrend. Whether it be Axel World, SAO, the video game trend has been a part of the anime community for quite some time. But it's expanded. Anime that take the reincarnation route are making it so that the worlds in which the main character is taken to takes on a very video game-esque feel. Taking MMOs and basically inserting yourself, quote unquote, into them. It's popular and it's fun to watch, or fun to read about if you're talking about manga or light novels. But something that I feel is that when you try to take something that is generic in a way, you lose a lot of the feel. Now, I'm not saying that the main character can't put themselves into their avatar or otherworldly body, whatever you want to call it, whatever the case may be. But when they do, if they want to think of themselves as a hero, a villain, a anti-hero, whatever the case is of the character that they're trying to portray. AR Dragonfly takes a bit of a different approach. AR Dragonfly by Joshua J. Piedra definitely takes the video game-esque feel and adds a little real-world flair. Instead of taking you into the video game and not taking any time out of it, it does the exact opposite. It takes you more into the real world and the real lives of the characters, and then sprinkles in the game aspect, but you still feel like rather than a character that's being used, it's just a person playing a video game. This, I feel, gives the characters a lot more life and makes them a lot more relatable. This is what I love about AR Dragonfly. Meet Amber Ryan, the main protagonist. And looking at her here, she looks pretty cool and confident, right? Well, she is, when she's playing her favorite online game, Blazing Auras. But outside the game, in the real world, well, she kind of suffers. You see, Amber has androphobia. She's deathly afraid of people and social interaction, which can definitely be shown when a customer comes to the store that she works at and she's hiding behind the counter in the fetal position. Yeah. In Blazing Auras, she's as confident as can be. She believes she's the top. In the real world, though, she realizes her shortcomings, and even though she doesn't like them, she doesn't quite know how to get past them. It makes even the most, what we would think of easy tasks, really difficult. And even though when it's read, it's pretty funny, in truth, well, there are actually a lot of people that suffer from social anxiety and androphobia. That's one of the main topics that this series really tries to get out there. In fact, there's really only one person in her entire life that Amber is comfortable with, and that's her boss. It sounds like it makes for a pretty lonely life. Amber wants to make a change. And who knows? I mean, maybe throughout the series, she will. We're only going over Volume 1 right now. AR Dragonfly really is Amber's story. And how she goes about her life. When she's in the game, she uses this confident language. She thinks that nobody can knock her off her throne. She thinks that she's the best and that everybody else are little itty bitty tiny ants. Just swat them away like flies. Until a fly turned into a spider. Suddenly, Amber's world is turned right upside down. So, how does a pro gamer react when suddenly they're not at the top anymore? Read the book and find out. Sebastian Carmichael. Now, usually, he's as calm, cool, and collected as he looks. He is Amber's boss. They work in a little shop that sells otaku commodities. Video games, figures, mangas, and other things of the sort. He's also really the closest thing to a friend that Amber has. He does a lot for her, and sometimes she doesn't really know how to react to it. In fact, at least twice, she asks him, why does he put up with it? Why does he do the things that he does for her? Whether it's letting her stay after hours, or basically get away with stuff that a normal boss wouldn't. Or other things. Sebastian, or Sebi, as Amber usually calls him, is a pretty decent guy. But as I said, Amber doesn't always know what to do with that, and so sometimes when the question comes up, she gets very intense. But overall, still, when it comes to regular conversation, well, Sebastian's really the only one that Amber has ever really been able to have that with. Sebastian is also a gamer, but not quite to the same extent as Amber. He's competitive and everything, but he doesn't consider himself to be a professional. He gives good advice, but sometimes he has a hard time following his own advice, which Amber does call him out on eventually. The relationship between these two is very, very interesting to read about because, on the one hand, you have a girl that is completely terrified of people. On the other hand, you have one that doesn't have an issue with people, but still takes the time to help the one who's scared stiff. It's a wonderful friendship. Sebastian has his own reasons for the things that he does for Amber. If you really want to get to the nit and grit of what exactly Sebastian does and why, read about him. Kane. As of right now, he's the closest thing the AR Dragonfly has to an antagonist. Now, it's important to mention that Kane is an avatar. I mentioned before that there comes a time when Amber's life is completely turned around. Kane is the reason why. He comes out of nowhere and he totally demolishes Amber. Not only that, but he really rubs it in her face, sending personal messages about how he thought that she was the best and how he was so excited to learn about the amazing fabled dragonfly. How disappointed he was when he finally faced her. We don't really know much about Kane yet, or why he does what he does, why he treats Amber the way that he treats her, or rather, her avatar moniker, the way that he treats her. But as I said, as of right now, Kane is the closest thing to an antagonist that this series has. Every story can be broken down. You have a protagonist or hero, you have an antagonist, then you've got support characters and side characters. As of right now, Kaito Akahiko would be probably considered a side character because you don't see him all that often. In fact, he really only comes along twice. He's a mysterious customer that comes into Amber's store to buy a copy of Blaze Auras, and then to buy something a little bit later, but you can read about that. The most interesting thing about him is that he's calm, he's cool, he's collected, and he likes to pick on Amber a little bit. When he first walked in, Amber was terrified, and so she was doing her usual hide behind the counter in the fetal position. Well, he saw her, and, well, he decided to have a little bit of fun. he usually playfully calls her glowworm, which is reference to her brightly colored hair, saying things like, "Oh my, I guess the glowworm can speak." When Amber finally is so excited about something, he just has to speak up, despite the fact that Kaito is right there within earshot. I don't think Kaito actually means any harm or any ill will towards Amber. I think it's all in jest, and I don't think that he means to be a bully. It's just that I think a lot of the times when you see someone that is that acts the way that Amber does, you don't always know how to react. You don't always know why they do it, and hence you don't know how to react. And so Akihiko, well, he just reacts normally. I have my own theories about Akihiko and how he will play into the theme later on, but we'll just have to wait to find out about that. I'm going to be doing a separate video for all of the volumes, so you'll probably hear more about Akihiko in future videos, but as for right now, he's just kind of the mysterious side character. But what exactly is his deal? Well, we'll just have to wait to find out. Dragonfly. This is Amber's OP avatar. When Amber wants to be all cool and collected in her gamer state of mind, where she feels like she's on top of the world, this is where she goes. For Amber, it's a lot easier to reinvent herself, to express herself when she's Dragonfly. She can smack talk, she can just swat people away with the best of them when she's Dragonfly. She's an avatar, so not a lot can be said about her, but this is Amber's outlet. Will Amber figure out a different outlet for herself in the near future? I hope so. But this is what I love about AR Dragonfly and Amber's character development. It's slow. And in reality, when you are dealing with somebody with social anxieties, that's how things are. It can be a slow process. Whether or not they're able to finally break out of their shell, well, it depends from person to person and reason to reason. That's what this series shows. This is Amber's confidence. Like I said, AR Dragonfly takes the video game genre of anime and light novels and turns it right around on its head. It takes the real world and it puts it back in. It makes characters that are really seriously just people. And it puts them in an entertaining and quite hilarious setting. The book is greatly written in times where you're dealing with Amber. Sometimes the dialogue will change because the way that Amber deals with her social anxiety most of the time is she treats even real life like a video game. So she might, if she's managing to do something she's never done before, she might actually out loud create the level up sound effect that you would find in a video game. In fact, when I first read the first chapter, at first I thought there was two different perspectives because it seemed almost as if it was taking the things that Amber did in real life and it was writing them in such a way that it would actually be the perspective of an MMO, but that was just the way that Amber sees the world. And that becomes directly apparent when you switch gears and you talk about other characters or other events. AR Dragonfly puts the real back in the video game light novel genre. So, if you think that sounds good, that sounds exciting, and you want to know more about Amber and the people around her, you can find AR Dragonfly on Amazon. I encourage you, check it out. You won't be disappointed. Like I said, there was only one other time that I can think of where anybody even tried to do something like this. And that was in Recovery of an MMO Junkie. And no, I'm not trashing that piece of work. Trust me, it's great. But AR Dragonfly, to put it in video game perspective, takes it to the next level. So thank you for Joshua J. Piedra for providing me with the graphics and the content for this video. So that's going to wrap it up for this. Until next time, thank you for watching.